This week's Parsha is Parshas Chukas, which speaks about the paradigm chok of the Torah. A chok is a mitzvah which we do not understand, something that a human being would not derive from his own rationale. And the mitzvah that is highlighted in this respect is the mitzvah of the para aduma, also known as the red heifer. And why it is called a chok, something which is beyond human logic, is because it was used to purify an impure person. More specifically, its ashes were used to purify an impure person. But the puzzling aspect to this is that at the exact same moment where it is impurifying the impure, it makes the pure person, one who is tahor, impure. And that, by definition, is a chok, something beyond our rationale. This is a mitzvah, however, which we don't have today. And there are many mitzvahs actually, like this, which we cannot perform. Unlike mitzvahs such as tefillin, or tzitzis, or Shabbos, or kashrus, keeping kosher, which are mitzvahs that were there from day one and are still around today, the mitzvah of para aduma is, practically speaking, extinct. We can no longer do it. And there's other mitzvahs that are like this, tzaras, for example. However, there's an idea, or a fact really, that one should keep in mind. And that is that the Torah is eternal. And the mitzvahs themselves are eternal. If a mitzvah was given, its essence remains for all eternity. So even though, practically speaking, we cannot perform the mitzvah, but the mitzvah in its essence remains, and it impacts us. Or we can derive something in ruchnius from it. Although we cannot do it, it still stands, so to speak, for us to access it. So the question was once asked, actually, by the Talmidim of the Baal Shem Tov. They asked their Rebbe, the Baal Shem Tov, and they said, what does the mitzvah of para aduma mean for us, or do for us today, in this time zone which we live in, where practically speaking it is extinct? And the Baal Shem Tov answered them as follows. He focused on the midah, the character trait of gaiva, haughtiness. He says sometimes you find gaiva being a good thing. A person who may be not connected to the Torah can use gaiva, haughtiness, as a way to pick himself up from his position in life and say, I can do this. I can actually get myself to that more lofty position. And how's he going to do it? He's going to harness this gaiva that he has inside of him, and it's going to fuel his actual pursuit of truth or spirituality. Albeit, it may not be lishma, it may not be for the most purest or righteous reasons, right? Because he's doing it maybe with some self-interest involved. However, it will do the trick, and he will get there. However, once he's there, that very same character trait, that very same midah of gaiva, of haughtiness, right, becomes despicable. And it's not a good thing. For a person who is already in a relatively, call it, better position, I guess, he should not be concerned with his own self-interest so much. And he should become really a less selfish person. This, the Baal Shem Tov says, is exactly the same thing as the Paraduma. Because if we focus on the element of the Paraduma, it was something, again, which made the impure pure and the pure impure. It had the ability of doing contradictory things. Gaiva, he says, is exactly the same. Gaiva can be positive for a person in his stage in his growth. However, that exact same character trait in a different spiritual position can be a negative thing. It's the same in its essence that it's also a contradiction. I think after the Baal Shem Tov has said his piece, we see here another tremendous idea. Because really, Gaiva is just one of many midos, many character traits. There are many character traits which at first we are told to stay away from. Kas, being angry, leitzanas, taking serious things very lightly. Chanifus, false flattery in order to get yourself in somewhere. However, those exact midos, those exact character traits, just look at the other side of the coin, they can also be used for the positive. Gaiva, as we've said already tonight, haughtiness. Right? Some person can have some self-confidence and say, I'm going to get this job done. I can do this. Kas, anger, in the right place, in the right time, can be the right thing. It can be used to educate properly. I think this is a very important thing that we ultimately have to understand about our character traits. That our emotions should not be the power that governs us. We should be in power of our emotions. And we should be able to push the right button at the right time and be in charge of when to activate our anger, when to activate even our jealousy. Jealousy can be very good sometimes. It can pull you to do a very positive thing. Anger, as we said, this, I believe, is a tremendous yesod, a fundamental in being a Jew, that we should not be slaves to our emotions. Rather, our emotions should be employed, so to speak, by our decision-making. Thank you.